Alright folks, how's it going? End of the year wrap up. This is me looking at last year's goals. Not last year, it's still this year as I record. 2025 goals. So I wrote them out and then I made a video talking about it, which went out, can't see the date, January, beginning of January. So let's see how I did. First up was to maintain my Crime and Punishment Substack. So this was my first read along on my Substack channel, and I'd started it, I don't know when, middle of last year, and I wanted to maintain it and keep it going because I was struggling, to be honest with you. Keeping a publishing schedule going like that, looking at my mentors, who are people like Simon Hazel and Matthew Long, who do outstanding work with read-alongs online. And I did maintain it. That's my first goal achieved. I didn't finish right when I wanted to, but I did keep going. I didn't fall off it. I didn't stall. I didn't abandon it. And I see that as a win. I also got to read a fantastic book again. So yeah, I give myself a pat on the back because that carried on, as we'll get to, into other read-alongs. In fact, we're going to get to it right now because my second goal was to read Oblomov by Ivan Goncharov on my Substack and to lead a group through it. One of the best Russian classics, in my opinion, and underlooked. I know not why. I've talked about it at length on my channel, so I don't need to go into the whys and wherefores of why I love it so much. Just to say that I do, and I put out quite a lot of content about it, written and video, and I had the best time with it. It didn't get many followers online, but that didn't matter. I was proving it to myself that I could continue with my goal of becoming someone that people look to on Booktube or on Substack for Russian classics from the 19th century or the 20th century, because we're doing the Master and Margarita starting from the 1st of January, which was written in the 1920s. So yeah, 20th century literature works as well. And yeah, Oblomov was great. I think I did some good work on it. I was quite pleased with the work that I produced. And I say I didn't get many followers, but I did get some, and they were highly appreciative of the work that I was doing, and it was a good time all round. So another pat on the back. Next goal was to complete the Realm of the Elderlings series by Robin Hobb. A favourite fantasy author of mine, going back to when I first read the Farseer trilogy, Assassin's Apprentice being the first of the Farseer trilogy, back in 1999. So I've been a Robin Hobb fan for a long time. And the first time around I finished them just at the end of when Live Ship Traders had been completed. So when I finished the third book in the Live Ship Traders trilogy, there were no other Robin Hobb books. So for some reason I didn't continue with it when the Tawny Man came out, and then she carried on with the Rainwell Chronicles and then into Fitz and the Fool. Don't know why that was. So I reread the whole thing. Did I start the year before last? I think I might have done. And this year I wanted to complete the whole thing. I didn't manage it, but I did read all of the Tawny Man, which is a trilogy, and all of the Rainwell Chronicles, which is a tetralogy. So 7 Robin Hobb books is not bad going, I think, which leaves only 3 books for 2026's goals. So yeah, I'm giving myself a pat on the back for that. It's not quite fulfilling the goal, but it's getting damn close. Next up was to follow Dana's brother Karamazov group, or Karamazov Brothers group, however you want to call it. And I kind of did that, but also not, because Dana stopped publishing in April, which is a great shame for the internet, because her Brothers Karamazov content and her Crime and Punishment content before that was absolutely superb. And I haven't heard from her since April, when she stopped publishing. I have reached out by different means and no reply, so I don't know what's happened to her. I hope she's okay. That's the most important thing. But I also hope that she comes back. It would be, as I said, it's such a shame, because her content was fantastic, and she set a high bar for leading Russian classic read-alongs on the internet. So when she disappeared, I carried on reading. I didn't take over. Well, how could I? I couldn't take over her work. That would just be ridiculous. But I did continue reading, and it led to one of my most memorable reading moments of the year, which was in May, when I went over to the mainland to get my Ford Transit van repaired. It had some electrical faults that necessitated a trip to a garage in Ayr, where they specialise in electrical faults, and they fixed it in a day. And while I was waiting, I went to Ayr Library. It's called the Carnegie Library, and I sat in there with the Brothers Karamazov and my notebooks, and I read the Grand Inquisitor chapter. Made copious notes, and I have since made a blog about it, or a vlog, or whatever you want to call it. There's content. And it was a great day that I shall treasure. It was a great, great day. And Brothers Karamazov, yes, it's a favourite of mine now. I mean, I wouldn't say it was, because I actually didn't enjoy it the first time I read it. Back in my student days at St Andrews, in my junior honours, was it? I think it was. So my penultimate year, and it wasn't for me at the time. This time though, wow. What an amazing, amazing book. It's featured in a read-along coming up by Henry Elliott, which will be starting in January. He's a Substack writer that I follow, and I read Anna Karenina with him, which we'll get to, is one of my goals. It was fantastic. If you want to read it, Henry Elliott does excellent content with his read-alongs. I saw another Substack writer who's doing Brothers Karamazov this year. I can't remember who it was. If I remember, I'll put something down in the notes below. I will be reading it again, because one of my favourite translators, the translator whose translation of Crime and Punishment and The White Guard I read, Roger Cockrell, he's currently working on the Brothers Karamazov, so when that comes out, I'll definitely reread it. Right, next up I've got read a Dickens novel. I want to read a Dickens novel a year, and I did that. I read Bleak House, and I had a great time with it. Aided by Katie Lumsden, whose YouTube channel is called Books and Things. And she has a reading vlog of Bleak House, where she goes into chunks. And I found her analysis really helpful as I was reading the book, and what a fantastic book. This year it's going to be David Copperfield. I'm not sure when, but it's going to be. Bonus goal, read Anna Karenina with Henry Elliott. Well, I did that. His read-along's actually still going. He's publishing according to the original publishing schedule in the Russian Messenger Journal back in 1887. Ish, I want to say. And so it's continuing into February, but I finished it early because I wanted to get the book done and out the way. So I finished it last week. What a book. What a fantastic book. Another bonus goal was to read Moby Dick with Brock, he of the Active Mind channel on Booktube and Substack. He has a Patreon book club. I didn't get to it. I still haven't read it. It's still on my TBR. So that one is a fail. Next up, read The Dark is Rising sequence by Susan Cooper. I did that and I had a great time with it, and I made content. I made a video going through the whole sequence, I think. It's a 5-book sequence. Young adult books that I'm very nostalgic for because I read them as a young adult, and I wanted to see how they stood up, and they did. They do. I highly recommend that series of books. Next up was to read The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. I made that a goal. It's unusual to have a single book as a goal, but I had it as a goal because my daughter bought it for me for Christmas, and I already had my own copy, but she didn't know that. So I figured since she'd bought it for me, I should read it, and I did read it, and I didn't really get on with it, to be honest. It wasn't my cup of tea at all, and I wouldn't be reading the sequel. So, yeah, sorry, Dochka, but yeah, not for me. Next up, I've got no YouTube gaps of longer than 14 days. Right, I've just created a Google Sheet. This is actually quite hard to calculate in Notion, which is what I use to track my reading. In fact, it was getting so complicated that I gave up and I exported it all out into Excel, and then Excel wouldn't tell me either. So I then copied and pasted it into Google Sheets. So I have 4 publishing. No, is that? Yeah, 5. And that's last year. So I have 5 periods where I failed at that. One of 17 days, 16 days, 15 days, 29 days? Wow. I went from September 16th to October 15th without publishing anything. And then another one of 22 days. But here's the thing. Having an arbitrary video go out just in order to please a goal, it's a good goal to have, right? I thought it was a worthwhile goal. It's just when I'm in a funk, as we all get into from time to time, but sometimes for me, they can last 29 days, and I just feel like I don't want to make any content. I did maintain my publishing on Substack, so I was still doing written content, just not video content. And you might have seen recently that I've got 2 videos that I recorded when I was out up in the forestry, up what I call the Hill of Beans. That's something I'm going to do more, I think, going into the 2026, because firstly I want to get up there more for exercise purposes. It's a very steep hill. Let me see, it takes 30 minutes-ish, 25 minutes to get to the top of the hill, and it goes from basically sea level to 196 metres in 25 minutes. So that should give you an indication of how steep it is, and it's fantastic up there. But when I'm out there, when I'm moving, when I'm exercising, when I'm in fresh air, the resistance that I feel sometimes when I want to make something and sit down and talk with you disappears. So it becomes easier to make content when I'm up there. Problem is, of course, I don't have my books and my screens and all that around me. No lighting. I do have quite a good mic, actually. I've got a wee clip-on thing. But yeah, I'm going to do that more because it works for me, and it might give another vibe to my channel rather than just this talking head thing with a shelf of books behind that you see so often on Booktube. So yeah, that was me. What did I say? 5 gaps of longer than 14 days. I'm going to ditch that goal for 2026 and just go with the flow because it was too stressful. What's next? Written reviews. Yeah, I guess I'm doing that, because I'm a Substack primarily. I'm putting out monthly wrap posts. I do videos as well, but I'm too behind at the moment. I haven't done November, I haven't done December. So I'm slipping a wee bit with the video wrap-ups, but there are written wrap-ups. So I suppose in that sense, I'm doing written reviews of the books, which was a goal. So yay, tick. Next one, slow down and handwrite notes. Well, I started out strong with this. This is a Leuchtturm, 1917, dot grid. And when I was going through Anna Karenina and Brothers Karamazov, I was coming away with really nice handwritten notes with a system. So you'll see there at the top of that one, it says AK and then an arrow and then a number. So that's pointing to the next page number of the book where I wrote notes for Anna Karenina. And I did the same for Brothers Karamazov. So it allowed me to use the same book for multiple reads. And I had a great time with it. I fell off it and I don't know why. Maybe to do with the funk I mentioned, maybe to do with the publishing gaps in my video schedule. And I'd like to pick it back up again because it was fun. You know, here's some Brothers Karamazov notes, and I get to enjoy a fountain pen, which I really do love. I love a fountain pen. I've got multiples. In fact, let me show you. I just happen to have it sitting beside me. That's my wee wallet of fountain pens, as well as a brush pen and a gel pen. So I use these every day, and handwritten notes, I'm going to give that a tick. I did it, and I'm going to keep doing it because it's great fun and I enjoy it. I've got next goal, experiment with book vlogs and publish at least one. Well, I did that with Anna Karenina and with Brothers Karamazov. I didn't complete them. Why did I not? It was becoming too much work and they weren't really getting much in the way of views. So it seemed like it wasn't the best use of my time. I think written notes and written reviews possibly are a better use of time. I don't know, but if I did Anna Karenina several videos, I did Brothers Karamazov several videos, and they weren't really getting much in the way of comments or views, so it just seemed like I should ditch it. So I did experiment with it, so that's a check. I ticked that one. Right. The final one I've got here is to participate in all 4 quarters of Historathon 2025. I failed at that. I'm just not that interested in history beyond Russia and the Soviet Union. I don't know why. I mean, I do branch out a bit with my podcast listening. Listen to Empire podcast in particular. But even them, if they're not about Russia or the Soviet Union, I tend to delete them. So, yeah, I've figured that out. That's my area of interest, and that's where I want to spend my time. So, yeah, Historathon. I did read quite a few history books and enjoy them. The ones that I read that were not Russia related, I didn't really enjoy, and I felt like I was just doing it to check the box, which, yeah. I'll see that as a fail, kind of, but also not so much because I figured out what I want to read and why. So going into 2026, I mean, I've got a whole shelf full of Russian history, Soviet history, biographies, political books. That's going to be part of my goal for next year. So you might have seen that I recorded my 2026 goals video up the hill. So I didn't have notes, I didn't have books around me. So at the time when I recorded that on Christmas Day, I published it today, in fact. As I'm recording this, it's now the 29th of December. So I published that today, and I didn't mention my Russian history books. So I need to add that into my 2026 goals somehow. So what would a reasonable goal be for that? Read 4 books, so that's 1 a quarter. Sounds doable. Yeah, and I mentioned my read-alongs there. I am planning to do more, as I've already said. The Master and Margarita's coming up January and February 2026. That's one of my favourite books. Not just content-wise, but also cover art wise, look at that. That's one of my all-time favourite covers. And look. Rukopisi nie goriat. Manuscripts don't burn. Unfortunately, this is the Pavir and Volokhonsky translation. And I say that because they're not my favourite translators. But having already read this one, which is Michael Glennie, I think that's the one I've read twice. It would be good, I think, to try a different translation. So this is another copy of Pavir and Volokhonsky, the cover of which I also like quite a lot. And this one, look at that for a cover. Is that not wacky? So this is Catherine Tiernan O'Connor and Diana Burgeon. So as I go, I will be doing a little bit of translation comparison. And this is something that I'm going to hope to bring more to my channel going into 2026, is to do that with more Russian classics. Brothers Karamazov, Anna Karenina, War and Peace. I've already done it with Crime and Punishment, and that video is one of my most viewed, even though it goes back to 2024. It's still one of my most viewed videos on the channel. So that tells me there's an appetite out there for me to use some of my expertise and book collection to help you all to decide which translations you might want to read. So that's definitely a goal for 2026, which I haven't mentioned in my previous goals video because, as I said, I was up the hill. So there we go. That's my reading goals covered for 2025, and I've covered them for 2026, both here and in the previous video. So have a look at that and see. I should actually write down a list like that for my last video so that I can refer to it at the end of 2026 and see how I did. So there we go. Thank you all for being with me through the year, for coming along to my read-alongs and supporting me. It's been a real year of growth for me in that respect. Particularly, I think my last read-along with The White Card by Mikhail Bulgakov, I think is some good work. I'm quite proud of that. And I got, some real support there, which I appreciate, and I thank you for that. Maybe I'll see you in January for Master Margarita. That would be awesome. Hope you have a happy new year, and I'll catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.